Hey, everybody.
Welcome to Trust Relations, the podcast.
I'm here with April, the founder of Trust Relations and the doyen of all things public relations.
And of course, we're joined by the wonderful Hamish, our marketing lead and expert in the space, who I like to call my marketing other half.
We're tackling some of the biggest topics in news and integrated marketing and learning from the mistakes that make headlines or sink brands.
So join us as we have a chat about what works, what doesn't, and what we have to say about all of it. All right, Hamish, hi. And also listeners, hi.
Good afternoon, good morning, good hello, wherever you are.
So how have you been?
I've been good. Been tired. Last week was a big week. I was out of office for a lot of the week, but playing catch up. And therefore, the tiring week that was last week has continued this week. But I'm feeling energized, so I'm not complaining.
So you're doing 2 weeks of work in a week? Is that what's happening?
It feels like it, yes. As I said to a few people now, last week was a long month, so this fortnight is a long year.
It sounds like an Instagram post.
Yeah, it should be. I might come up with a meme.
There you go.
Let's see if I can be creative. But I'm pretty good. How are you doing? Happy belated birthday. Well,
Thank you.
Happy birthday, but happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, it was I always like my birthday. I know people hate their birthday. I don't know. I love my birthday. I like being told happy birthday. I like birthday parties. I like everything about it.
It's all about me.
I know.
Make it about me more.
It's my day. No, I love it. I don't know. I had fun, and I always there's I don't know. I always have a nice energy around my birthday. I always feel like it's this sort of fresh start for me. So I'm excited. Yeah. So I was gifted with now 2 bluebirds that have gotten in my fireplace. So that's been an interesting omen of something.
Roasted bluebird. I hear it's tasty this time.
No, that's terrible. Don't say that.
You're just not cooking them right then. Sorry.
Terrible. Everyone ignore him. He's being awful.
Anyone out there who's eating roasted bluebird, please write in.
No.
We're going to turn this into a cooking segment.
No, terrible. Don't do that.
Cooking at home with April.
No.
Hi everyone, this is your show producer, Veronica, dialing in with today's communications buzzwords. April's word is elucidate, and for Hamish, the word is demodé. Happy listening.
Oh, word of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Should we recap while we're here?
No. Okay, fine.
I do believe that the score is rounded to 10 points, with 70% of them going to me.
That evil laugh you do.
It's not evil. It's just acknowledging myself. Just patting myself on the back.
It's every time we do a recording, it's Hamish's birthday because he's always winning.
Thank you very much. Yes, 7-3. But anyway, we'll get into that. It's going to be a good stoush today, I feel. I feel you're bringing your A game.
Is that your word of the day?
Stoush?
Yeah.
No. Come on, please. Would I drop it there? So
I mean, last time you dropped it that brazenly. You used it when talking about buzzwords.
I know. It was clever of me, wasn't it?
So I'm on the look. I got my eye on you, Hamish Anderson. You're in trouble. Can't get anything past me today.
No, look, I won't. But no, that was
I'm like a soccer goalie. Got this.
Hands everywhere. Octopus in the goal.
Yeah, look out.
No. But, I'm going to be on you again. I'm going to make sure that I'm not getting one past. It'll be good. Yes.
All right. Should we jump into what's new in the news and not with us?
Yes, that's probably a good thing to do.
Okay. So our news of the day that we're examining is how the Today Show, which is now called the Today brand, is basically moving into being more of a leader in lifestyle. And SVP Libby Leiss is basically being charged with this initiative. Let's see.
I think this one's got some juice behind it. I think it's interesting because what this article does do is talk about the decentralization of where people are getting their information from, where they're digesting things from,
It's very
how
true.
people are accessing information, and therefore what they're coming to expect when they do access. And there's these questions about long versus short format, and traditionally we've talked about it in the sense of written content, and then there's been the content people talk about with case studies. And I was having a discussion with someone the other day about the fact that they believe that a 10-minute video case study is fantastic and it's not too long, and the arguments they've had with clients and how they said, well, people who are interested are going to digest it, and so 10 minutes is only just long enough to give them the information they need. And others who say, well, if you can't deliver the key messages in 90 seconds and ask for people to reach out and make content in that, then you're wasting their time. So I think that this definitely is a hot button topic at the moment. And I think that Libby, who's now become an SVP over there, has got her work cut out for her, and how she basically takes what is a masthead brand dominating the morning show market, but keeps it relevant. Because as I've read in the article, the viewership has dropped by over 50% in the turn of the 21st century. So 7.2 million viewers at the turn of the century, and they're down to now 3 million viewers a morning. So they've halved in 21 odd years, which, given that the population has increased, just goes to that point I made at the top, that we are looking at getting our information, no matter what it is these days, from decentralized sources. So that's my recap for everyone, in not so much of a short format.
I'm just curious. I know I'm taking us a little bit on a wild goose chase, but I want to see what Joe Rogan's listenership is now, to see where they compare. 11 million. That's really interesting, because I think in PR especially, the Today Show was always known to be the coup de grace, right? Like if you got the Today Show, it was the end all be all. There was no
Go back.
coup de grace.
Yeah, coup de grace. Can you please explain that word to me?
It's not my word of the day.
Can you still explain it to me? Because I have no idea what it means.
I was like, you're not busting me.
No, that's why I didn't say, is that your buzzword? I was just like, I've never heard this word before. Otherwise, I would call you out.
No, it just means the pinnacle. It's like, it's the top of the top of the top. Coup de grace. Yeah.
Coup de grace.
The end all be all. Like, this is the final da, 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 da. So it's interesting I had never thought about that the Today Show's numbers had gone down so dramatically, and that Joe Rogan's viewership surpasses by several million what the Today Show viewers used to be. 7.2, and now it's 11.
So is it that people, do you think, are now listening to things more? So, Audible's up, and those type of listening apps are driving consumption at the moment? Because I would have thought maybe what it is that people, when they're digesting visual content, they're using YouTube, or they're streaming from multiple different platforms, Amazon, Netflix, whatever it might be. And so mainstream media, which is not scratching an itch for them, because especially in this instance where it is a news thing where they can digest it from their social feeds, from a bite-sized snippet across a podcast or whatever it might be, are news shows no longer relevant? Are they, to borrow a French term from you, a demodé, are they
is that your word of the day?
Damn you.
Yes! Oh my God, it's like the first time.
You got me. I thought if I'd borrowed your talk about
it was
French
so
before.
It was so clever. It was like, and you were like, wait a second, she used a French word. What'd she say? Say it again.
Yeah.
I can
thought
fit
if I
the
rewound
she's
you,
never gonna notice.
yeah.
I think it's like parlaying off of her French word.
No, another. We can
See what I
go
did
all
there?
day.
See what I did there?
Yes, I do. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I'm just gloating.
Word du jour.
Okay, sorry, I derailed us. I have a theory about this. I think what's really happening here is two things. I do agree with you that people are tending to consume more of their news and information through audio format. I just see more and more people going that direction. That said, obviously you can listen to the Day Show in audio. So I don't think that's exactly the full scope of what's going on. I think some of it is that, as we talked about a little bit before, I think the credibility of the media is hanging in the balance. I think people are not sure how much something like the Today Show is bought and paid for. So if a product or a famous person is on the Today Show, did they get an appearance fee? Are they getting some other kickback? Is it really organically news? And I think the other piece of it is that there has been this perception that is, like all stereotypes, there's a reason they're there, right? But there's a perception that I think news is skewing towards one side of the aisle or the other, and it's not totally objective. And the thing, and I've said this like multiple times, but the thing Joe Rogan has going for him, whether or not you hate him or love him, is that he literally has anybody on the podcast from any side of walk of life, aisle, etc., conspiracy theorists like Alex Jones, Elon Musk smoking pot with him. I mean, he's got everybody coming on, and he gives everybody a voice. I think people respect him for that because they don't think he's trying to sell them an angle. There's not some specific side of the equation he's trying to push people on. And obviously that pisses people off, who want censorship.
Well, it's not even about censorship. I think some of the thing that grates is that he's not seen as a professional journalist, and so some of what he's discussing is just whatever takes his fancy at that point in time. And so, yes, he does give people a platform, and because of his audience, that platform's not always a healthy one for people to espouse their views on.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I can see that, but I also think that people gravitate towards feeling like he's more authentic because he's giving everybody a chance to be vocal and have freedom of speech, right? I think if you're trying to censor out people that you don't think qualify as being legitimate, then you do run the risk of still censorship. He's not going with the party line. He's not going down one aisle. He's just sort of letting.
He's a man of the people.
Yeah. And that speaks to people, right? I think it's that not feeling better then. And I think that makes him relatable in a way that people don't feel talked down to. And then they want to listen to him.
So then coming
it's not
back
propaganda.
To this,
so yeah, sorry, back to our Today Show.
No, that was going to say, so coming back to this, are you saying that there's a credibility gap at the moment that exists for mainstream? So do brands like Today need to lean into the fact that they need to make their celebs and the people fronting it have bigger personal brands and connect with their audience, and by virtue of having bigger personal brands, draw people back into the masthead that they all work for? And so, because I'm thinking of people like the dancing weatherman, Nick Kosa, I think his name, who's developed his own massive social media following because he's that dancing weatherman, and he gets out there and he's dancing with all of those different platforms, stars in their own right. He's developed this cult following of people who probably will want to then see him or will digest the weather from Fox because he is the personality that they know. I know here in Australia we have a couple of different people who front different shows here who are, got their own TikTok channels, and they're every morning they're putting together new dances that they're going to do, and they roll out. And sometimes they show you the final polished version, and other times they show all the outtakes and spoofs of how many thousand times that one of them got it wrong. So people connect not only with the polished product, but they're developing a relationship and understanding of the fact that those people can laugh at themselves. They don't have to be perfect, and therefore they've got their own following that might draw them back into the main, into the show itself. So what are your thoughts?
I think you're right, Hamish. I think you're onto something. People are craving authenticity, and people are sick of BS. They can read through it. They can smell it a mile away. I mean, we're still pretending that we're into it because we're still following all these fake people on social media and, Instagram influencers and people that are clearly not being human. And I think that there's something appealing about that because none of us want to admit we're human. But at the end of the day, we don't trust it either because we all know that what we're hiding. So it's like, okay, well, they're hiding something, so they're really good at, so I'm going to admire that because they're hiding what I don't want to show anybody. But I think it's wearing off. Like, I feel like as a society, I feel like those scales are starting to come off and those skins are coming off, and people are craving somebody that's relatable. They're craving brands that are relatable. They're craving people that aren't judgmental. They're craving people that are open-hearted and don't look down on other people that have different beliefs or backgrounds or opinions or politics or, I mean, I think this is what the world needs more of. So this is also why I am not really an advocate of brands taking a party line. But I think you limit your audience, just like we're seeing here, right? But if you open yourself up, and I'm not advocating that brands go out and do Joe Rogan and, smoke pot with other people and like talk to Alex Jones or go on go on InfoWars. Like that's not what I'm trying to say. No disrespect to Alex or InfoWars or Joe Rogan or anybody, but I wouldn't advise going that far with it. But I do think there is a lesson here, I think, and what people are really craving is are you, I mean, it's the same thing we've just been talking about. Are you what you say you are? Are you walking the talk? Are you doing what you say you do and doing what you say you will? So that's what people want.
Yep. No, I totally agree. So do you think then that Today brand can get back on track? Do you think that this is too much of a mountain to climb for Libby Leist?
I think it's a rough road. I think they might. I don't know.
A cynical question for you then.
Well, my initial thought is it would be potentially more interesting if they decided to do something really off the beaten path and start a podcast, a lifestyle podcast that was also on video.
But it's a lot of extra work. It's onus on them to produce more content. It's extra time. I mean, it's a 4-hour format. Could they cut it back to 3 hours and then spend the extra time on micro formats?
Maybe. What's your cynical question?
Has Libby been set up as the sacrificial lamb as part of the powers that be that once, and that's sad, but I think it's true, that once ladies get to a certain age, they're put out to pasture because they're not as attractive as they once were. They're not as relevant. Therefore, unlike men who age gracefully and they become a trusted voice, unfortunately, women are seen as they're getting past it. They're not as attractive. They're past their prime. Let's put them out to pasture. And this is a way of having a scapegoat.
Probably. I mean, it's obviously also an actual issue that's not just about whether or not she's still pretty face. I mean, they lost 4.2 million viewers.
They're not the only ones, though. I mean, they've probably lost more as a percentage, but they're still the number one morning show. I don't think, is it mornings on CBS mornings? Probably have the same market share. They'd probably kill for that. But the fact that they've all lost share, and maybe it's as well that once upon a time people used to get up in the house, they'd turn on the TV, they'd put on the news and they'd watch that. Now there's so many streaming platforms, they're getting up and they're just binging another 30-minute show as they get dressed, as they eat breakfast, as they get ready, because that's easier and it's mindless. And maybe the fact that we're all so connected and we're getting information coming through on our cells, the fact that we can't switch off because there's email coming through at any hour of the day. When we want to switch off and just do whatever, we're going to something which is mindless, non-factual, and so on and so forth. So maybe there's just news fatigue or information fatigue in the audience as well, and that we're choosing to switch off rather than digest our news elsewhere.
I think that's probably true. True. I mean, I know I personally don't. There's no way I could get up in the morning and sit down and watch TV. I mean, I usually, put on a podcast to catch some of the news while I shower, do my makeup, get dressed. It's like playing on a phone somewhere in the bathroom. And, that's sort of my one moment before, the fire hose of the day starts. So it's like,
but that's what I'm saying. It's easier to digest audible content.
Yeah.
In the shower as you're moving around than
you're driving.
Than to have your TV or even your screen on.
I think it is a product of how busy we are, for sure.
And when we were all working from home, we were digesting content across such a broad range of media. It broke everyone's habits. So
for sure.
I think she's got a tough ask. Yeah, I mean, the article that I read does talk about the fact that Lice is keen to reach viewers who don't necessarily tune in during the morning, and that can be done by building today's presence on streaming platforms, which is part of NBC Universal streaming service, Peacock. This podcast has no affiliation with Peacock at all. I've always wanted to do a disclaimer.
Well done. I love it. It was so perfect. The voice was perfect. You just nailed that.
Thank you very much. I've missed my calling.
I guess so. No, you're good at what you do. Do you want to do our
the recap?
Key takeaways, or as you say in Australia, key takeouts?
No, other way around. We say takeaway. You say takeouts.
No.
No, we say takeaway.
You do? Why did you say takeout sometime?
Because I thought you guys did.
We say takeout for food. Like if you get food to go, it's takeout. But you have to pick it up yourself because it's not delivered.
That's takeaway. It's takeaway here too.
But in food context, it's takeout.
Yeah, that's weird.
All right.
It's just odd. Okay, so the looking back at this story about today, I think there's a couple of takeaways. One is that there has been a decentralization of where we're getting our news sources from, and we're looking at many different platforms to get our daily dose of news, whether it be a podcast, whether it be maybe even digital radio, maybe it's from social streams, and TV as the mainstay of the household has potentially lost its stronghold in the news sector. Second takeaway was that potentially there's some cynicism and there's distrust in media, and that this is potentially having an impact on why people don't want to digest news and opinion from the mainstream media, because there's some cynicism around it based on years of distrust that has been building for multiple reasons, and that people are preferring to get their news sources from the general man, or people like Joe Rogan, who come through in unfiltered ways and represent the views of so many more than the networks, which often have political biases.
It was perfect.
Thanks. It was quite a long takeaway, but hey,
it was.
We've gone for the banquet takeaway.
All you can eat smorgasbord.
That's right.
Oh my God. Okay. Shall we move on to marketing conundrums? Oh, we got a Hamish song for that one.
Yes, we did.
I want that every time.
You mean I have to remember it?
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll try.
Okay, good.
I think that today's conundrum.
I like that one.
Why clients with smaller budgets want to compete with A-listers in the industry for share of voice, and why that's not always possible.
I like that.
Da, 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 da.
Ooh. Get the song again.
Yeah, I'd say that's the top and tail.
Top and tail?
Yeah, you got the top, you got the introduction of the conundrum. I've said it, and then we close it off. Now we can discuss.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I always get two of the songs for the marketing conundrum.
Just depends on my mood.
No, always two.
No. All right. You dive in. You were excited by this topic, I believe.
Okay. Well, in PR, it is slightly more possible in the event that said small client is being very disruptive and or has a very contrarian point of view. So there is an exception where even with a small budget, if it's a small client and they want to go against A-list leaders and they're truly disruptive and they're doing something that's going to turn the industry on its head, or, blow a hole through all of the BS that the other market leaders have been putting out for years that is starting to come out in the open or something like that. Those are circumstances in which you can actually compete with the big guys in the media. It's harder with small clients that aren't doing a lot harder. This is an understatement of the century. Like, it's a lot harder if they aren't doing anything truly innovative or disruptive.
Look, I think you've really made a good point there about the fact that when it comes to PR, a smaller client who's just splashing into the market are doing it because they believe they have a point of difference. They're doing something that no one else is offering. So it gives you a really nice way of going to press and saying, we've got this new angle to run and this is what it's about, and
Yeah.
therefore getting them some airtime. But the problem is, I think that looks at it in one one point in time, and you can do that. But how much of a splash can you make for how long? How long of a prolonged splash can you make to win that share of voice? If you get share of voice for the day and you're the predominant brand, that's fantastic.
Mm.
Making that stretch for a week, stretch for a month, and stretch for a quarter becomes a lot harder. Whether it's in PR probably, or more in the traditional marketing realm, if I can put inverted commas around that. I think the risk is for PR, as you and I have discussed before, that brands can lean into the inauthentic and make bold claims in marketing that can't necessarily be substantiated across PR. And that's where the share of voice then starts to be eroded, because whilst they have something great to say for 1, 2, 3 press releases, what happens after that? Because you've got to find those angles to keep running. And it's the same when we lean into the marketing side of the coin and look at how do we compete. It's hard because you're coming at it and you're wanting to make a splash, but where you're using the press as a mouthpiece or megaphone to get that message out, and you've got an audience that they're then transmitting that to. When it comes to marketing and making a splash for the small budget, you're relying on the development of tools that are a little bit more passive in that sense. You know, whether or not you're creating an awesome website, an awesome app, you're optimizing for search, you're doing the best social campaigns. If people don't know what they don't know, they're not looking for that at that point in time. So getting that share of voice against what the client wants you to be measured for is very difficult, because you are being disruptive, but people don't know that they need to search for those things or to hunt for those things and to find them. So you're going up against the main messages of your competitors. It's very hard, and I think the conundrum lies in, well, how do you manage the client's expectations in that scenario?
That is difficult. I mean, I think that's partly why we've introduced at Trust Relations this new exercise at the beginning of any campaign where we, obviously I'm telling you, but you know about this, but for listeners,
Tell me more.
Hamish is leading this, so I am for some reason the one talking about it. But basically, we're doing this exercise at the outset of any campaign to make sure that the storytelling and story doing align, that anything they're making claims about, we can substantiate through case studies, data, proof points, etc. So I think that's one way to manage expectations is, okay, you say that you're innovative. What are you doing that's truly different than competitors? Because a lot of times they haven't really done the full due diligence because they don't really want to know. It's like ostrich head in the sand.
Yeah.
I don't want to know that 18 other people are doing this. And so you're the first one to break this horrible news to them after they've invested 3 years of their life and all of their savings or what you mean. It's like, ooh, it's like terrible moment.
Oh, look, it's a horrible position to be put in, but I think it's a necessary one. Otherwise, they're just going to spend more money going out there and burn more money to be told the same by the market. And when you've burnt the market, they're a lot harder to get back than burning your internal communications team.
That's very true.
Back. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes it's short-circuiting when the client gets told a painful truth that then helps them reevaluate or realign what they're looking to do. And so this exercise that you spoke about before does everything that you said in aligning the doing, the storytelling with the story doing. But more than that, what it's also doing is helping the client understand what stories should be told. Because one of the exercises we look at, as you know, is what do the client's end audience know and not know about the brand and the industry, and where are the opportunities there? And often what the client wants to go out and shout about is great, but it makes them a bit more of a me too. Whereas what this exercise will help them do is identify what they can differentiate themselves on, and therefore give them a lot more of a solid platform, which you can continue to talk about, because it is a point of difference. So they can still be disruptive in that area, which gives you longevity across your PR. It gives you an angle to run with the marketing, because you're actually tapping into a point of pain that your end users have, and they are looking for ways to resolve that. So the searches that they put around that are going to lead a little bit more back to the brand that we're talking about.
Agreed.
So I think
Yeah.
it's about bringing forward the timeline of when you introduce a painful truth to a client in a tactful way with a solution of how you solve it.
I mean, the nice thing also about clients that are a little bit on the scrappier, kind of challenger brand side of things in the PR space, just to kind of bring that piece of it back in, is that if they are, to Hamish's point, actually authentically doing the thing they're saying they're doing, then you can do a little bit more with their contrarian nature, and they can kind of come out of the gate swinging and be a little bit more vocal about issues and topics and things that are essentially, poking the bear a bit, right? Poking the industry bear. Like, you can get by with that, and it can be really, really successful in the press. The only downside of that is that if you have a contrarian brand that's challenger brand that's on the verge of becoming more of a mainstream or, top tier brand, you could ostracize like some of your potential partners and things like
Mm.
that if there's a chance that you've painted yourself into a corner and now you can't have bigger clients that would be offended by whatever viewpoint you came out with, right? So
What
there is that one downside to it.
What do you mean by paint yourself into a corner and ostracize yourself? Who
So
are you
for
ostracizing?
if you are a challenger brand, but you have the potential of becoming more of a big deal,
Mm.
and you've gone out into the marketplace and shot down a bunch of
Ah, yes.
a bunch of competitors, but then you end up becoming the new giant, you could potentially just
Mm.
long term paint yourself in your corner where you can't partner with a big brand. I mean, I don't want to give any examples here, but there could be okay, let's just make this up, right? This isn't a real example, but we're going after the credit card cartel, and then all of a sudden you need to partner with a brand
Mhm.
that is in that space, but you've come out of the gate swinging with this very like aggressive,
I
point
think
of view, then you could get yourself in trouble.
I think though the contrarian marketing angle is different to the attacking marketing angle, and I think coming out and pointing out points of difference where you sing your own praises or you show how you're different without necessarily ridiculing what the opposition or the alternatives are doing is different to coming out and poo-pooing. Let's put it nicely.
That was so nice.
Thank you. I can be sweet
Aww.
sometimes. Yeah, I think if you come out and you start ripping into your competitors, and you pay the credit card cartels. Credit card cartels have been gouging you for umpteen years, and you've been paying 25% interest on them, and therefore they're the devil incarnate. As opposed to coming out and saying our interest rates are only 8% per annum, allowing you to repay your loans faster and buy more of what you want to. You're focusing on the positive. You've differentiated yourself by saying it's only 8%. You let them go and do the homework to find out that they're paying 25, between 12%, whatever it might be. But you've not come out and actively attacked your competitors. So when you do need to potentially bond with them or pair with them into a strategic initiative into the future, you have still been true to your core promise. You've been able to show your market what differentiates you from them, but you've not done it by burning bridges. And I think, the world is built on relationships. Everything that you and I do is about how we connect our clients' brands with an end user. And that's about developing a relationship and that rapport so that there's trust between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going out there and you're doing your
Trust
marketing,
relations.
Very good. I like it. If you're going out there and you're doing anything which potentially jeopardizes a relationship in any sphere of what you're doing, whether it's not necessarily with your end audience, but it's with a periphery within the same sphere, you're not doing yourself any favors, because ultimately one day you might need them. So relationships are, I think, the mainstay currency of everything that we are all doing these days across all walks of life. And I don't think that that's different to any other point in time. I just think that we're now realizing it more than ever. Well, if we're not, more of us are than ever before.
Very well put. So I feel like with that, you've almost done our key take away.
Yes, I've summarized it with a Z, not a Z, and not an S.
But why don't you elucidate us with the entire thing all over again?
Elucidate.
Yeah.
Word of the day.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Damn it!
Yeah.
I knew it. See, I knew I'd never get it past you.
No. Yes, I only need one arm. I got it. There we go. Bring it back down.
My heart's racing too. It's like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. No, I'm not. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
She shoots. She's denied.
No, I was stuffed. Okay.
I think the key takeaway is if you're looking to disrupt the market and you're a brand that has less of a budget than some of the big players, and even if you're a big player yourself, but you don't necessarily have the budget and you're looking to compete on share of voice, or you're looking to make an impact in the market, look at your points of difference. Imagine it as a Venn diagram, how they overlap with what your audience are actively needing or searching for. And don't assume that just because it's important to you, it's important to them. If you can actually identify where the middle ground is on those two areas, what they want and what they need with what you want to tell them and how you're going to be different, you're going to have a much stronger chance of getting that share of voice and, more importantly, share of market and share of wallet.
So well said. It was like you had a script for it, but you didn't.
No, I didn't. But sometimes what comes out of this mouth actually makes sense.
Most of the time. Okay, so would you like to move on to campaign analysis?
Why don't we?
Ad Age just sent me a pop-up that says why Burger King's new ice cream looks like a poop emoji. Hold on, I'll show you. New item on Brazil menu highlights its lack of any artificial that's why they're doing it. Add a new item to its menu in Brazil, poop ice cream. This is hilarious.
Okay. This is quite funny.
I literally, like, somehow I enabled Ad Age to send me stupid pop-ups, which is annoying until this moment.
I think this is quite good. Do you want to do this one? I haven't done Arbys yet.
I guess so. I'm like pretty delighted. But I will say that the Arbys Pusha T track is like fly.
Oh, I'm listening to it now.
It's like, yeah. I mean, maybe we talk about both of them because they're both going to be kind of short, right?
Okay, let's do it. Which one's your favorite?
Definitely poop emoji. Okay.
Like my joke.
So Burger King introduces new ice cream that looks like a poop emoji.
What does the ice cream look like, a poop emoji?
Yes, it's brown.
Or is it just the advertising?
No, the actual ice cream is a brown swirl, and they're look at these little girls eating this. They have little faces on it that look like the smiling poop emoji.
Yeah, and it is pretty clever. They have done a whole campaign. They've got everything from the ice cream with, I'm going to guess, they're marshmallow bits that are made to look like the eyes and the mouth.
Right.
They've got a food truck which has got poop emojis all over the outside of it, and the truck's painted brown.
And there's a reason, which is why they're highlighting that it doesn't have any artificial
I know.
So that's a big piece of it.
I think it's awesome.
It's so cute. It's so cute.
It's owning the space and saying, we know that what we used to do was pretty but now what we're offering is free. So we're going to give you because we're free.
It's amazing. And then there are these little girls that are eating these little smiling poop emoji ice cream cones, and they look so thrilled.
They really do. And look, I think it's just sitting into a space really nicely because they're owning it. And this comes back to what we were talking about in that last segment about the fact that you don't have to pull down your competitors to point out a point of difference. They've not come out and said, if you buy a McDonald's ice cream sundae,
it's full of artificial.
Yeah, they've just said, we're different. And we've owned the space that we used to operate in, but we've made a step in a consciously forward direction.
It's clever.
It's really clever. And look, it's interesting that they've started it off in Sao Paulo. I mean, I'm guessing it's a huge market there as well, but I'm guessing something of this magnitude would have had to go through a corporate head office at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And is it a test market there? Because if it is, that's brilliant. Roll it out. Bring it here. I want some.
Exactly. I know. I want it too. Bring that to the US.
Yeah, that's it.
What I really like about it too is it goes back to that storytelling. They're doing something that's campaign worthy rather than creating a campaign around something that's not real.
Yeah, really.
So
good
that's
point.
what's really powerful about it, is that if they were just doing this as an ad, it wouldn't work, I don't think. But the fact they're doing it in real life, IRL, is like that's what makes it feel really creative and really fun.
Agreed. 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. All right.
Yes.
So the other one that we really like is, do you want to announce this one since I stole the thunder on the poop emoji?
The other one is
elucidate us on this one, please.
Word of the day. Do I get 2 points as well?
No.
Interestingly, this is another competitor of McDonald's. McDonald's seems to be in the firing line for both of our campaign analyses. The analyses.
That's definitely not that one.
Yeah, no, okay, all right. Analyses, because Arbys have launched a spicy fish sandwich to take, the title from the filet fish. You say filet fish over
fillet.
There,
what did you say?
Fillet.
Fillet.
Fillet. A fillet of fish. We call it a fillet of fish. You call it a fillet.
Fillet.
I think you even spell it differently. Anyway, we'll come back to that one. We should do an analysis on that too. But anyway, I digress. Yes, so they brought out a new fish burger, and they have commissioned Pusha T to write a rap track to underpin all the aspects of the burger and what's in it. And they've done it in a very comical way, where there's a little bit of self-deprecation, but they've also done in a way which is very listenable. I would almost say that they've probably given him creative license and not told him what he has to say other than get these key points in. And he's come back with what I think is actually quite cool.
Yeah, I will say it is a pretty hot rap song. And that guy, I mean, the fact he can make something sound that cool for that long, and you actually want to love the whole song and not pay attention to what it's saying because it's so good.
Look, it is.
But if you do listen, it's not bad. I mean, it's not on the nose. It's like he did it very artfully too.
He did. It doesn't sound like it's pushing it too much. It doesn't sound like it's just burger this, burger that. But because he talks about the genesis of catching fish, he talks about other bits and pieces. The video that goes with it was quite interesting. I wonder at the format though being a minute long, 1 minute and 15 seconds long, whether or not it's a little too long. That would be my only commentary. And I get that they can splice it for their 30-second, 15-second potentially TVCs. But at 1 minute and 15, do people want to listen to it for 1 minute 15?
I don't know. I thought it was hot. I was into it.
You were?
I wasn't over it. I was like, yeah, get it.
Replay. Straight to my Spotify list.
I was feeling it. I was like, yeah, down with this.
I think
some hip hop moves. Like,
is that what they were?
Yeah, partly, not really. But
look, I think it's also interesting. I mean, Arbys is known as being a bit of a maverick and pushing the envelope and thinking about things differently, and this definitely does do that in their space. And they're not the first necessarily to get a rapper involved. I mean, Menulog obviously did it a couple of years ago with Snoop, and that again was very cool. I think that giving them license to do their own things works quite well. And I think that Arbys have really done a good job in making a splash with this track. And again, I think it'll be interesting to loop back in X months to see how far it pushed the dial for them, whether or not it's helped grow their share of voice, whether it's helped grow their share of wallet, and so on and so forth. I mean, we might not be able to tell. There might not be public release figures, but it would be interesting for us to.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is the quote that the CMO has come forth with, which again, it's a really nice loop back. A lot of our articles and discussions today are looping back on each other, which is really nice. And it comes back to the fact that he references that their budget is not necessarily as big as others. And he says, we have to have ideas bigger than our budgets. We have to kick out coverage on all of these things. Otherwise, we're playing a media weight game, and that's not when we win. whether it be television, PR, or activations, we have to do it better. We have to have more creativity to be more proactive, and that's where we create competitive advantage. And I think that that's probably the key takeout for everybody. You've got to think creatively. You've got to stay true to your authentic self, to your brand, and you have to say things which are going to resonate. And if you can do that in a meaningful way, that's where you're going to kick goals.
It's so beautifully tied up.
As you said, put a bow on it.
You even, I think you even put a poop emoji on it.
I did. Everyone. Free poop emojis for everybody. You get a poop emoji. You get a poop emoji. You get a poop emoji. Under your chairs.
Okay. All right. On that note, I think we have to let you gloat about the communications buzzword of the day.
Okay. Well, look. Today.
So go ahead. Tell them how bad you.
Today I started on 7 points, ladies and gentlemen. I scored 1 point for using my buzzword, and I scored 1 point for noticing April's, putting me on a total of 9. April started on started on 3 points and earned 1 point for using her word correctly, and 1 point, unfortunately, for picking up mine and octopus arms. I'm going to call her Octopus.
Okay, I don't like that.
Yes, it sticks.
No, I don't like it.
So tune in next week to Hamish and Octopus's podcast.
And we have to read our definitions. Mine was elucidate, which means to make something that is hard to understand clear or easy to understand. Hamish.
Mine was demodé, which is, and I think I've said that correctly, for all those French speakers out there listening to us, wherever you are, please
make fun of him now.
Me. It means no longer in fashion, out of date, or outmoded.
Very good.
Hi, everyone. Before we sign off, don't forget this week's promo code. The first person to submit code TRUSTANALYSIS5, that's TRUST, analysis, number 5, will receive a free trust analysis for their brand with April and Hamish. Terms and conditions apply, and you can click the link in our show notes for more information and to sign up for this exclusive deal.
So, should we say goodbye to everybody, Hamish? As much fun as this has been.
If you replay me, I never have to say goodbye. So just keep listening. Put us back on loop, and we can do this again. Otherwise, it is time for us to say goodbye. It's been wonderful having you listen. And remember, you can catch us every 2 weeks wherever you like to listen to your favorite podcast.
And remember, if you subscribe, rate the show, share the show, please invite everybody else to listen. It will help us grow this community of communicators.
We hope you've got a lot out of it. Thank you, everybody. It's been good fun. Thank you,
April. Next time. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, it was really a bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
It's been fun.
That's one way to get rid of them. Campaign analysis. Here we come.
Where is the jingle?
You're doing it. You always do our jingles.
No, this is you introduced. You've got it too.
I don't do jingles. You do jingles.
I don't even remember what my last one. No, something like that. I'm going to have to make it up each week. Welcome to campaign analysis. No, we don't like that. Okay, let's do campaign analysis.
So we definitely are leaving that in. Okay. All right. Where's the jingle?
Okay. Campaign analysis.
Ta-da. All right, I'll give it to you.